Professor of philosophy Evan Birch arrives at the police station to report a crime. Evan asks Detective Malloy if he has ever experienced memory lapses. 5 weeks earlier, Joyce Bonner, who works at a kayak rental, refuses to go to a party with her friend, saying she's not in the mood to get drunk. In truth, Joyce has other plans. Evan Birch has it all: a car, a big house and a family. He and his wife Ellen are raising their daughter Zelda. Ellen asks the girl to help her father wash the car. They start goofing around, and soon their son Adam joins the fun. Overall, they appear to be a normal, fairly happy family. Joyce Bonner has gone missing. The police visited her parents' house to learn as much as they could. Evan's colleague Ross asks him what he would do if a student offered him a fling without intending to ruin his marriage or career. Evan replies that it would be a violation of professional ethics. Tonight he's working late, lots to do. When Zelda mentions a psycho in the woods, Evan asks what she means. Ellen explains that a 17-year-old girl is missing. The couple decides their children shouldn't go out alone until more is known. Evan opens a bottle of expensive wine he had saved for a special occasion. There's a reason. Ross, who read Evan's book, is thrilled with it. Sometimes Evan wonders if moving here was the right choice. Ellen says they didn't really have much of an option. In the morning, as Evan jogs around the stadium, some cheerleader students throw flirtatious glances his way. After putting Zelda on the school bus, Ellen meets up with a friend. She used to teach at the university but fully dedicated herself to the family after the kids were born, and she doesn't regret it. Suddenly the women notice a missing person flyer on a pole: Joyce Bonner. Evan exudes charisma and is popular with students, especially the girls. Anna invites the professor for coffee to discuss his book, but he politely declines and begins the lecture. Ellen is puzzled when she sees police officers at her door. They're here to speak with her husband. Wherever Evan goes, he always draws the attention of women. He flirts with a pretty shop assistant named Carrie. Meanwhile, detectives wait for Evan at his home. Ellen tries calling him, but can't reach him. Evan is aware of his own attractiveness. Though he appears to be a devoted family man, he always ogles women younger than his wife. This has long become an obsession for him. He has to put in effort to restrain himself. When Evan gets home, he is confused to see the police. They explain they're investigating the disappearance of a cheerleader, Joyce Bonner. Witnesses say a man in a gray Volvo was watching her shortly before she vanished. Evan drives one, so the police have to look into it. Evan says that on the day Joyce disappeared, he picked up his daughter from camp. Ellen confirms this. Detective Malloy wants to search Evan's car, but he refuses, saying he's not obligated to allow it without a warrant. Ellen doesn't understand why her husband acts like he has something to hide. Eventually, Evan is taken to the police station for questioning. He insists he doesn't know Joyce Bonner and has never been to the boat station where she worked. The detectives let Evan go, for now. At home, Ellen lashes out at her husband, asking why he argued with the police in the first place. The kids got scared, thinking their father had been arrested. Evan admits he acted foolishly but claims he was only trying to defend his rights. The man is plagued by nightmares. Could he have lied to the police about never being at the boat station? The next day, after a lecture on philosophical paradoxes and the search for truth, Anna approaches him and reminds him they had something last semester. Evan tries to avoid the conversation, but the girl isn't here to talk about their relationship. She proposes they pretend it never happened. Evan gladly agrees. Anna is genuinely interested in his book and has a few questions. Their conversation is interrupted by Detective Malloy. Evan rushes off, citing urgent matters, but the detective follows him. The man keeps insisting he picked up his daughter from camp on the day Joyce disappeared. Detective Malloy points out Evan was 40 minutes late. The man jokes that being late isn't a crime. The detective replies that giving false testimony is. A page from Evan's journal was found near the lake where Joyce vanished. Starting to contradict himself, Evan says he might have stopped by the lake that morning. He doesn't remember exactly. The police confiscate Evan's car. He loudly voices his outrage and later meets with his lawyer, Paul. He assures him everything will be fine. The main thing is to get the police on his side. In the restroom without Ellen around, Paul asks Evan to answer truthfully. Did he have anything with Joyce Bonner or any other students? Evan says no. Whether Paul believes him or not isn't important. What matters is being honest. When Evan walks into the store, the one he usually stops by on his way home, and doesn't find Carrie there, he gets upset. Ellen feels like her husband doesn't care about the missing girl. He only cares about himself. With each passing day, the hope of finding Joyce Bonner fades. Ellen decides to visit the lake where Joyce went missing, but the area is cordoned off by the police. She locks eyes with Malloy. Everyone at the university is concerned about Joyce's disappearance and hopes the culprit will be caught soon. Evan hopes so too. After work, Ross gives Evan a ride home. He can't help but notice something's bothering Evan. Ross says he experienced a new kind of humiliation today. Only 2 people showed up to his lecture. When Evan sees banners about Joyce's disappearance everywhere, flashes of her being in his car run through his mind. Or are they just fantasies? Even Evan isn't sure what's real and what's not anymore. At dinner, Ellen asks the kids and her husband if they want to go to the beach for the weekend. But Evan doesn't feel like leaving the house again. It's a small town, and rumors about his possible involvement in Joyce's disappearance have already spread. Ellen thinks the trip would do them good. Over the weekend while Evan is loading up the car, Ellen notices their daughter putting on makeup. She asks Zelda where she got the lipstick. The girl says she found it in Dad's car. Ellen knows for sure it isn't hers. The family heads to the beach, the same place Joyce was last seen. While the kids build sandcastles, Ellen suggests to her husband that they take a vacation, maybe to Spain. They could even visit their old cafe. Evan thinks it's a good idea. Ellen reminds him of the promise he made to her in Spain before they got married: always tell the truth. The man says that's impossible. Everyone lies sometimes. Later, while the whole family is searching the yard for Zelda's runaway pet, Evan makes a disturbing discovery. The rabbit is never found. Zelda needs time to forgive her father. He was the one who forgot to lock the cage that morning. Ellen asks her husband to pull himself together and stop playing the absent-minded professor. Otherwise they'll have to move, again. The next day Evan walks the neighborhood with his daughter, taping up missing posters for the rabbit, right next to the flyers about Joyce. During his lecture, the man can't concentrate. Meanwhile Malloy keeps digging, convinced the professor is involved. Seeing Evan at a bus stop, Anna offers him a ride, maybe grab coffee and talk philosophy. Eventually he gives in. At the same time Malloy pays another visit to the Birches. But this time he wants to talk to Ellen. Gradually Anna steers the conversation toward what happened last semester between her and the professor, even though they had agreed not to talk about it again. Malloy starts his chat with Ellen slowly, which makes her even more nervous. She would rather get straight to the point. Malloy jokes that his wife is right, small talk isn't his thing. Anna confesses to Evan that she can't stop thinking about him. After reading his book, she concluded that people commit destructive acts consciously. Malloy remembers seeing Ellen at the lake the day before and asks for her help. The detective senses that Ellen isn't entirely sure of Evan's innocence either. Anna keeps philosophizing, saying most people are afraid to acknowledge their own hidden darkness. Noticing he missed his bus, Evan asks if Anna's offer to give him a ride still stands. Malloy tells Ellen that Joyce's hair was found in Evan's car. If she can explain that, it'll stay between them. The woman only says that she and Evan had their reasons for moving and refuses to continue the conversation. After the detective leaves, she starts going through her husband's things. The tension between Anna and Evan is palpable. At home, when their son mentions the visit from the detective, the man can't help but get nervous. Ellen doesn't tell him about her suspicions yet, but things between them are becoming increasingly strained. The next day Paul calls Evan at work and brings up the hair found in his car. Evan insists the police planted it. Or maybe he gave Joyce a ride once and just doesn't remember. Malloy shows up at Evan's work again and hands him a release form to retrieve his car from the impound lot. The detective offers Evan a ride. He declines. Malloy knows the professor isn't thrilled about the situation, but in some ways, their jobs are similar. Both of them are searching for the truth. Eventually Evan agrees to Malloy's offer to give him a ride. At first they make small talk, but it's clear to both of them that it's just a way to test the waters. The professor hints that any student's hair could have ended up in his car by accident. It's normal for teachers to give students a ride, especially in rainy weather. But the detective knows that Evan had an affair with a student in the past, that's why they moved. The professor denies it, so the detective suggests maybe Evan doesn't remember everything that's happened in his life. On edge, Evan demands that the detective stop the car. Later, after retrieving his Volvo from the impound lot, he spent a long time thinking. Could he really have memory lapses? Ellen is wearing that same lipstick. Evan comes home late, as he often does. At first Ellen tries to rekindle some affection, but he quickly realizes there's more to it. She demands an explanation for how Joyce's hair and her lipstick ended up in his car. Evan accuses her of being paranoid. She responds that she hasn't been able to trust him for the past 5 years. The man storms out. He's not spending the night at home. The next morning Paul calls Evan and says a fisherman pulled Joyce's body from the lake. The lawyer strongly advises Evan to act normal, though that's easier said than done. Outside the university building, reporters swarm the professor. Students whisper behind his back. For the first time ever, his class has full attendance. But it doesn't last, as the dean suspends Evan while the investigation is ongoing. The man should have come clean from the start. The university's reputation is on the line. Ellen asks Zelda to try and remember what her father said when he was late picking her up from camp. At home, the woman tells her husband that Joyce's body was found. Evan says he knows and doesn't understand why she expects some dramatic reaction. Joyce had nothing to do with their family. The cause of death hasn't been determined yet, But an autopsy will be conducted soon. It's Halloween, and in the evening Evan, like the other parents, takes the kids trick-or-treating, while Ellen searches the house for clues. Suddenly Zelda starts running away from her father. She's stopped by a patrolling officer. Zelda lies, claiming the man before her isn't her dad. Evan can't believe what he's hearing. The girl keeps insisting he's not her father. The officer demands Evan show ID, but he doesn't have it on him. The situation is resolved when Ellen arrives and explains everything to the officer. At home, Evan tries to have an honest talk with his daughter, sensing that like many others she believes he's guilty. She hasn't spoken to her father in a week. Evan assures her he has no secrets from her mother. Now, in this difficult time for their family, they need to stick together. The autopsy results are in. After reading the report, Malloy immediately goes to the Birch's house, but only the nanny is home, watching the kids. The couple is preparing to attend a university party. It won't be easy, given the rumors circulating around town, but they have to face it. Ellen tries to keep it together, but when Ross accidentally mentions Evan's suspension, it causes a scene, right in front of everyone. Ellen storms off, and Evan follows her. Outside, the fight continues. Ellen is tired of her husband's lies. All these years he pretended everything was fine, that he hadn't done anything wrong. It's frightening to think what else he might be convincing himself of. Evan has become so lost in himself that he can no longer distinguish memory from fantasy. He walks into a nearby store and buys alcohol, unable to take his eyes off the attractive cashier. Evan gets drunk, his mind growing increasingly clouded. But despite that, he walks into a bar and orders more alcohol. Then Evan goes to the police station and declares his intention to report a crime. Detective Malloy is ready to listen. Evan says he suspects he is experiencing memory lapses. It all began with Evan's affair with a student, even before the move. Her name was Carol. When the truth came out, the girl's parents threatened to sue the university, so the Birches had to relocate. Evan insists that nothing inappropriate happened, while Carol claimed the opposite. But Evan's memories are blurred, so he can't prove his words. In tears, Evan confesses that he was the one who took Joyce's life. That day, he was at the lake and saw her. There was an instant spark between them, and Joyce suggested going into the woods. She knew a beautiful spot. But at some point things spun out of control. Evan is shocked when he isn't arrested. Malloy says the autopsy results came in. In fact, Joyce fell on the other side of the lake. It was an accident. The case is closed. Evan is confused, since he has just confessed to a crime. Malloy tells him that Joyce really was in his car, that he was at the lake, where he discarded a page from his journal. And just as Evan had said before, he simply lost track of time. That's why he was 40 minutes late picking his daughter up from camp. Malloy apologizes to Evan on behalf of the police and lets him go. Without real evidence, Evan's words are nothing more than fantasy. The man returns home with mixed feelings. The children run into his arms. He tells his wife that Joyce's case has been closed. She remarks that he doesn't seem particularly relieved. Evan only wants to know what he can do to save their marriage. Ellen says they can't just start over. They need to move forward, either separately or together. Ellen wants Evan always to tell her the truth, not what he believes the truth to be. Truth is objective. That night Evan meets Anna, and in a surge of passion he pushes her hard. The girl loses consciousness. What is this? Is he a criminal, or is he simply losing his mind?